Bienvenidos. Difficult-ish, un poco difficult. Hosted by, it's a podcast. It's about South Asian narratives, and it's hosted by my co-host.
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
me, Mahua Khan.
And
Bienvenidos.
with my co-host.
Yeah.
Me, Mashun Munir.
Yeah.
Welcome back, or your first time.
If it's your first time,
Victimize.
welcome.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah.
Like the video immediately. Subscribe to the channel immediately.
Me
Leave
gusta.
a comment, rate the episode, review the episode,
Give us a 5.
and do all that jazz.
Yeah. But today, what are we talking about?
Today we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about self-reflection. We're gonna talk about the landscape of
And accountability.
and accountability, taking
Yeah.
accountability. Understanding where you might be going wrong in certain situations.
Because let me tell you,
Bring it
there
on.
are people who are constantly like, oh my God, why can't I keep a man? Why can't I keep a friend group? Because they're like, people have so many long-term friend groups for years and years. Why don't I have one? And they're constantly trying to blame others and saying that they're in the wrong instead of trying to do, some inward thinking and taking some accountability.
Yeah,
Because like a lot of the times, we were there once upon a time. Sometimes it happens. We just want to blame other people for our own faults or mistakes, right? It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to like say that you have issues yourself that you have to work on. And so the easier alternative is to just blame other people, right? So in this episode, we're going to talk about how sometimes we're the problem, and it's
true.
important to
It's me.
self-reflect, how to actually self-reflect, because this issue isn't just with us, like our age people, but it's also with like the older generation, right? We have parents, we have grandparents who are very like stuck in their ways and very stubborn sometimes. And we're just going to talk about, maybe like some easy DIY self-reflection tips, and it's like all ages,
Yeah, 5, 55.
Yeah, if you're 5 and you're self-reflecting,
Listen,
good on you. Good on you.
Just when I should have started.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. Before we start off, our hearts and our prayers go out to all of the students in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
It's been heavy on our minds ever since it first broke the news. I wish we were familiar with it when like it was first starting to erupt and first becoming like a really big thing in Bangladesh that was going on.
But it was like censored all over media.
Yeah. Do you want to like quickly just brief like what's going on?
Yeah. So if you guys want to like a more in-depth or like shorter condensed version of what's happening, we posted a video on our TikTok on our Instagram at Difficult Dish. But basically what's happening in Bangladesh is that there is a quota system that takes up the nation where 56% of the jobs, like the high government civil service jobs that a lot of people are working hard towards because they're like the higher paying ones, that's what people like want to get jobs in so they can support themselves and their families. 56% of those jobs go to relatives of freedom fighters or veterans of Bangladesh, or women and other marginalized groups and things like that. So students were protesting this because back in 2018 they removed the quota of the freedom fighters, right? Or they like reduced it or removed it. So about 30% of the jobs were going to these veterans or the relatives, allegedly. Yeah, the descendants, allegedly. But like it was also based on like money, bribery, a lot of corruption, nepotism and things like that. So students were protesting this because they were like, why is all of my hard work that I do in university me getting 100% versus someone who is a descendant who has like a 2%? Why are they getting the job over me? It's not fair, right? It should be based on merit. So students were protesting this, and a lot of them actually got killed by the army and by the police, by just administration in general for protesting their rights and trying to go against this. And there's just like a lot of corruption and stuff behind it. And as of right now, when we were recording this episode, the Supreme Court removed this quota because they said that it's illegal to actually have that.
Yes.
And which is all great and dandy, but also all these lives shouldn't have been lost because of this. And this paints like a bigger picture because this just shows like the true corruption of power in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
you know?
it very quickly became much bigger than the quota
Yeah.
system issue. It became like an actual humanitarian crisis and like actual problems going on with the government and political system in Bangladesh. We didn't want to do a full episode on it just because, we're not political historians and we want to make sure that we have all the facts correct. And it's just a lot to take in. But, our hearts go out to like all the students that have lost their lives. I still have a lot of family in Bangladesh. I saw a lot of videos of things going on in areas that I was at when I went to Bangladesh earlier this year. That there are places where my cousins live that are like nearby. So like it was affecting me a lot. Like while I was at work, I mean, it was affecting all Bengali people. Like I'm not any different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we are posting on our Instagram stories and TikToks and things like that more resources and just like media and new news that has been circulating. Again, like the media has been censored, and also in Bangladesh, I don't know as of right now if the internet and service is back, but there has been a blackout in Bangladesh where you can't really call anyone back there. They can't call here. They're not able to really use internet. So everything is kind of like wishy-washy and up in the air. So as we're learning new things, we're posting about it and like, bringing more awareness to it.
Yeah.
So we'll do our part.
We advise, all of our listeners, if you're in the diaspora or not, just be familiar with what's going on, do your research, and, use your voices as amplification for, like, these students that are in Bangladesh that don't have the power to, speak about what's going on or, whatever it is, just be familiar with what's going on.
Yeah. But, so this episode, we're going to talk about self-awareness, accountability, not victimizing yourself.
Don't do it.
All the key buzzwords.
Why'd you want to talk about this? Why do you want to talk about this? This came out of your mind. You were into it. What's up?
Yeah. I was a little inspired. I was going through some other podcasts, looking at some inspo, some other topic ideas and things like that. And ideas. I realized that I have people in my life who are just incapable of sometimes like taking the blame for themselves. Like they just always seem very like perfect in their own eyes and like in everyone's eyes because that's how they like put themselves out there.
Yeah, name drop.
But can you imagine? But like they're unable to blame themselves for mistakes, and they're unable to like be vulnerable with themselves and be open and just be willing to change.
What makes someone unable to do so? Or not realize that they're not perfect? Like what happens to somebody for them to be like that type of person?
I think they just have like mental blocks, and also if you grow up in a household where like you just were kind of the token child, maybe that can play a part in it. It can also just be that like you're protecting yourself by blaming things on other people instead of yourself.
That too.
It can be so many different things. It can also be like a trauma response.
It's true.
It could be a different things,
That's true.
Anyone in your life who don't think inward?
Do I? Do I feel like we all do?
Yeah.
Know
the song?
Huh?
You know the song?
T Swift?
It's
Swiftie?
me. I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah.
You know any other part of the song?
No.
I don't either. I know so many people that are just stuck in their ways, as they say, unable to change. Whether it's a friend that keeps going back to like
their
ex, or it's a parent that is having difficulty just adjusting to a new world or new circumstances, whatever it is. We all know people that are in those brackets.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, teaching them how to change is near impossible.
It feels like that sometimes.
At the end of the day, the only driving factor for somebody to change is going to be themselves and their own experiences, and if they are capable of, breaking their own walls and barriers down. Yeah. It's hard for you to do it, and a lot of time, if this is someone that's close to you, you may feel like you bear the responsibility of helping this person out, and it can take a toll on you once you're putting in like this much effort into this person, and you're like, oh, like I'm dedicating this much time, and I'm taking them here and there and showing them this and that, and they're not changing. A lot of time you'll start blaming yourself. You'll be like, damn, like what more can I do for this person?
When it's really not
at the end of the day, some people just go and do their thing.
Because there's so many like layers to it. Like if it's someone from an older generation, you can tell them all you want for them to change and how they should, but it's up to them to listen to you and like see that there might be some faults that they have to fix. And then the third step is kind of like actually willing to make those changes and like doing that like unwiring of their past beliefs.
You wanna give a little example? You don't got a name drop, but
of what?
Like, just like of this, of like someone that has shown that they're not gonna change, or like maybe this happened to you, where like you experienced this before you did like your self-reflection. You got any examples?
I mean, I know like older people that just have like traditional beliefs, and they were grown up like that. They were taught to believe that, which is fine. But then as society progresses and becomes more and more modern, you have to try to expand your beliefs and realize that there could be more than one right answer, or like, for example, if our parents grew up in a generation where like, or our grandparents, they didn't believe that women should work. They should just be at home. Right. And then your grandparents now see that you're working and a woman is wearing pants and not just like a salar kameez or a shari. Like that might be a little bit too much for you, right? So it's up to you to show them that there are other ways of living now and that that's also right, and try to expand their way of thinking. But if they are stubborn and if they grew up like that where they didn't see any of that growing up, it could be hard for them to go beyond that thinking.
No pants.
No pants. Like my grandma, she's very modern and she had a job growing up in Bangladesh, but she hates when my hair is short. She hates when anyone's hair is short in the family. And it's so funny because like she's literally so out there, right? Like she was literally one of the first Bangladeshi women in her village to be working while also having like 10 kids.
Damn.
And when you cut your hair short, that's where she draws the line.
Crossing the line.
Yeah.
20 kids, 6 jobs.
It's wild.
Short hair.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, I thought of one.
Yeah.
I thought of one.
Let me hear it.
This is like a real life example. Like this happened to me.
Okay.
And
I would hope so.
I can make this real long, but I'm not going to.
All right.
Even though it's my
Thank
podcast,
God.
I do whatever I want.
Okay.
But, no, you want me to make it?
No. Don't make it long, please. I'm begging.
So I started working at a coffee shop when I was 19.
Right.
Nice area. I've been through this so many times. Nice area, right? Very different from what I grew up in. And I think it was like my second or third day of work, one of my coworkers called my sister pretty.
Hey.
And called my mother pretty as well.
Oh wow, both?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And no
ill intent.
No harmful.
Just a compliment.
Intention. Just you have a pretty family.
Right.
And I got offended from that. I said, I like started taking my.
Didn't
apron.
you like push him? Yeah.
I started taking my apron off and I started being like, "Yo, come outside," because I've never heard that in my life, even if it's true or not. Nobody's ever said that to me.
Okay.
And it's not something that a guy says to a guy, at least the way that I grew up.
So like
I never heard this.
So no one's ever told you that your family's pretty.
Right.
Okay.
Because it's not something to say.
That, or no one's ever said it in like not an ill intention way.
No, in general.
Okay.
Nobody's ever said it to me. Sure, it's like I don't even want to go like expand on it. It's just like I've never heard this in my life. So I got pissed when I heard it.
All right.
I got really mad because I was like, don't talk. Even though it was nice, I guess. And like he wasn't like trying to like hit on my sister or anything.
Right.
I was I don't want to hear that.
Right.
And so I think that day, like one of my coworkers called me down or something. I think I left. Like I just like didn't want to work that day anymore. Cause I was ready to fight him. I was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear this.
Who hired
and he
you?
was so confused.
Right.
He was like, why are you mad?
Right.
Because I don't think he didn't understand why I was mad. And I think about this situation a lot because I think it's just like a blatant example of like me like trying to be like the victim in a situation, or me being like, oh, like he meant like he was trying to offend me, or he was trying to
get a reaction,
like make me mad. Whereas like at the end of the day, he's like a little nerdy country white boy, like big beard, like played Smash Bros all day long, like. And he wasn't like that type of guy. So I think like I think I didn't talk to him for a little bit, and then like the next week I was like he was like, hey man, I'm sorry. And then I was like, Yeah. What's wrong with me, bro? I was over exaggerating. Even though still like I don't want to hear that, but it's like from coming from like somebody that like obviously didn't mean anything wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big moment in my life because I was like, man, like not everyone is going to see where I'm coming from, and I'm not going to see where anyone else is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But just because I don't understand doesn't mean that anger and temper can't be like my initial reaction. Sometimes you gotta process, like, you gotta like receive information and then like process it and then like intake into you, instead of like that person says something and like I take it as how I like, as if I would have said it. How would I take it? Whereas like other people mean things in different ways. Some like a sweet boy saying something versus not sweet boy saying something, like it could mean two different things.
Right.
You just have to like interpret other like people and like understand like perspectives and whatever. So.
Yeah. What's interesting? I remember a few months ago, like we were talking about just friendships and why we can't or can hold friendships or relationships in general. And you had a very good like self-reflective moment where you didn't blame like friends not actually like remaining friends with you, but you blamed yourself, and you were kind of like, oh, maybe this is what I can do better of to like have long-term friendships.
It wasn't always like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you've changed.
Like yeah, it was I think it was like during COVID, like it took like a little bit of alone time, a little quiet time to be like look in the mirror, be like, damn, like what was I wrong in these situations?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, if you have to ask yourself that, it's true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time, like when you feel other people fuck up, like you often don't have to question it because you could just feel. But if you're like confused about a situation and like it takes like a second thought, like chances are like you played a big part in it.
Yeah.
So but
and
that's
it's also important, like when you are like, all of us vent, all of us gossip sometimes. When you are telling another friend why a friendship went wrong or like why it didn't end up working out, if you constantly like just talk shit about the other person without having some sort of like self-reflection on like maybe what you might have done wrong, I feel like that also plays like a big part. Like it just shows that you have no self-accountability. But I remember you were saying that maybe one reason friendships weren't working for you was because you're not the type of person to like reach out.
Yeah.
So that's a very good thing that you did.
Facts. Still don't.
Yeah.
Still don't.
But you were working on it.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
It's not like, oh, I don't reach out, I'm never gonna fix this.
Because you know what it is? I was talking about this yesterday with one of my coworkers. A big fault that I have is that I feel like I'm wasting my time whenever I hang out with somebody. And that's not good. That's not how you should think. Because I feel like whenever I'm spending time with someone else, I'm always in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, what else could I be doing with this time? Am I making use of this? As if like this 1 or 2 hours I'm spending this person is gonna like be the turn of my life, is gonna like as if like my life would change in these in these hours I'm spending with this person. And that's not a right way that I should be thinking. And I don't know, that's just something I've been thinking about. I think it's just
like the hustle mindset we have,
I guess. Yeah. And I also think it's like I'm an artist, and like I gotta live in solitude, and just like that whole facade that like a lot of us try to make ourselves believe. But it's like, no, like a lot of what can feed you comes from other people. How much are you going to be your own motivator in your life? It always has to be fed by being outside, being around other people, having conversations with people, exchanging ideas with people. That's where a lot of it comes. I don't know, that's like a big self-reflection I've had of myself too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks. Any like major reflection you've had recently?
I think something that I felt growing up in friendships and relationships was that I always felt like the left out friend, or like the stupid friend. I just always felt like the friend that didn't really fit in there or wasn't really wanted. So I think that made me like overcompensate by like trying my best to fit in and like give more to them, to like
try to be like funny.
Yeah, try to be funny and like give them gifts, or like give them most of my time, and like just put a lot of myself into friendships and like put my value into friendships. And then I think I realized that if those friendships didn't end up working out, I would like either blame them for like leaving me out, or just like take it very personally without actually wanting to change, though, because I'm like, I gave them everything. So what changed within myself and like friendships later on was that I started pouring more like into myself and friendships later. You know, like first I would realize what I liked doing as a person myself, like how I like spending my time, what my values are, whatever it is, and then I focus on relationships or friendships after that. And I think that's when I realized like what friends I want in my life, and it was just easier to, I guess, not fit in, but like know the balance of how much to give and how much to receive, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's really important, where it could be kind of like a trauma, not a trauma response necessarily for me, but like something that you feel like you're lacking in, so you kind of overcompensate sometimes, you know? So it could be like a childhood like memory that you have that you're trying to like recover from, and that like pours into your friendships, because honestly a lot of the things are from childhood.
Yeah.
You know, like you maybe I felt left out when I was a kid, and I'm now
joke.
I'm trying to like be in a secure friendship or relationship.
No
you
joke.
know?
Yeah. A lot of time, like, you know, you get a little bit older, you start realizing like a lot of those things. Like, you know, I think when I was in like my early 20s, a lot of like I would think about the things that I don't like about me, in a sense of like the things I want to change, like for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have an answer for a lot of like the whys. Like why do I do this? Why is this my initial response? I didn't have a lot of the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a long time I was just like, oh, like that's just how life turned out. This is just how I ended up. But it's like, I think as like you grow up a little bit and you give yourself the space to, you know, process what's happening in your life, you realize that like a lot of your whys do have actual like starting points that you can draw back to if you do enough reflection. And you know, discovering your starting point for like a lot of the issues that you have with yourself is an amazing feeling, because it can give you like a place of reference and like a place to start working from. You know, it's like, that's why like therapy is great, you know, because like a therapist can help you find that starting point, and finding that starting point is, and it's
gonna be uncomfortable.
Like
it's not gonna be easy peasy. You just sit down and you're like, oh, this is why I'm the way I am.
But once you realize like, oh, that's why like I've been wondering about this my whole life, and like now I know why. It's just like it's an amazing feeling that like nothing can replicate. You know?
Well, let's talk about how to get to that why. Like how to actually self-reflect. And when we say to self-reflect and like take accountability and sit down and be vulnerable, we don't mean like ruminate. We don't mean like constantly get to the negative parts where you're like spiraling and you're thinking of like negative self-talk, and you know, you're just like overthinking to the point where it's just like
ruminate.
Horrible. You like the word ruminate?
Yeah, good one. Yeah. Rumination.
Yeah.
I think I used that in a poem once.
Hey, go. So do you have a tip, or do you want me to start?
I got multiple. Which one do you want me to start with?
I can start. Because it's taking a while.
Go ahead.
All right. So my first one would be to, when you are in the beginning steps of self-reflection, is to eliminate distractions. Okay. So what I mean by this is that a lot of us... What the heck was that? All right. So a lot of people are, you know, feeling sad or feeling like they're going through it, and they're like, all right, let me just go out with my friends. Let me just do a little drinky drink. Let me do some, you know, watch some TV. And these are all like little doses of dopamine, right? But it's feeding you temporarily, but really it's not good in the long term. So what you need to do is embrace boredom. And when you are feeling like you should be escaping your feelings, or, you know, just like not thinking about it, that's when you should be doing it the most, right? And it's going to be uncomfortable again, because maybe you are used to like just going out or like reading or watching TV when you are thinking about something that's like affecting you. But it's really important to like sit down during that moment and like think about what you're feeling, what you're dealing with, and maybe write it down if you can, and just try to put some like verbal words and thoughts to it, you know, something that's like emotional or like it's in your head. So make it real and like write about it, you know?
Write about it.
Because we're just like in an age now where our phone's right in our hand. We just have so like easy access to everything.
Yeah. easy little dopamine kicks.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good one. Writing. I knew you were gonna say that one.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I
You
knew
like
you
the
were gonna
writing
say
one?
that one. The journaling one. I knew that was
Yeah.
gonna come up. I
Journaling
got a
sounds
couple.
stupid sometimes. Like everyone's like,
yeah, I don't.
you know,
Journal.
hating
I'll
on
be
it.
honest, I don't journal.
Yeah, he doesn't journal, but it's like
I get it. If y'all wanna do it,
maybe you can find a different method to it. You can do a voice note. You can write like bullet notes for your journal if you don't feel like actually writing stuff. Maybe you can like sing a song. I don't know. Like there's different ways.
Like what?
I'm feeling sad today.
I'm feeling sad today. Good one. I got to. Dedicate.
You got it.
Like dedicate.
You got it.
Dedicate time to reflect.
Oh.
Slash
What's that mean?
start the night before. This is my tip. Start the night before.
What's that
This is
mean?
what I mean. So I feel like there's two types of people. The people that can like turn it on, and the people that like need to like
Like what do you mean?
work towards it. That like cuz this is for the people that struggle with self-reflection,
Okay.
right? This is for the and when I say struggle with self-reflection, I mean like people that are scared to self-reflect because
Right.
they don't want to face a lot of things that they don't like about themselves.
Right.
AKA me.
Mm.
Procrastinating it, being like,
Do you think I'm good at it?
yeah, you're good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Procrastinating and be like, I'll do it when I feel better.
Yeah.
Or I'll do it when I'm not hungry. Or I'll do it when blah blah. Like waiting for the perfect time.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. I do that. But what I do, especially when it comes to like me wanting to like write my poetry, is like I'll dedicate time. I'll schedule out time for it. And a time
been
that
getting better
I
at
know it's gonna make sense. So for example, I love writing on the weekends. I'll be like, yo, Friday night, I'm gonna write. Today's Monday. Yeah, Friday night, I'm gonna write. So what I do Thursday night is I mentally prepare myself for writing Friday. So Thursday night I sleep, I wake up early, and like from the morning of Friday, I am living the day, preparing myself to write at night. So I'm not gonna be overly frantic. I'm not gonna eat too much. I'm gonna try to exercise. I'm gonna try to listen to the right music. I'm gonna try to be grateful about the weather.
That's
just like
important.
what happened.
Gratitude.
Is like I'm gonna prepare myself for these moments instead of just like I know some people are able to be like to like switch it on, be like, all right, I'm drinking my morning coffee. I got 5 minutes to spare. Let me just like reflect a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I need a schedule at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's fine.
and that's something that's really helped me out. Is like today's Monday. I get excited for the weekend because I get excited to write on Friday night, even though I know that the material probably isn't going to be the most it's not gonna be the greatest feeling because reflecting and doing inner work, like the consequences of it may be rewarding, but like when you're in the moment, obviously you're facing like a lot of stuff that you're upset about with yourself. It's not gonna be a great feeling, but if you prepare yourself for that early on, it's like if you're going skydiving on Friday, don't wait till Friday, like right before it happens, to be like, oh shit, I'm going skydiving. It's like, no, like prepare yourself mentally, like get yourself ready for it, and like when the time comes, it gets so much easier, and like there's even like a little bit of excitement to do it because like you've been like looking forward to this moment for so long.
That's good. Scheduling and gratitude is important, but I think like on top of that, how do you even like what does self-reflecting mean? Like where do you start, right? Like those are good tips on how to schedule it or like write about it, but it's like you have to make time for yourself, sit down and actually be willing to open up and be vulnerable, because that can be scary too. Some people just like refuse to cry or like refuse to think deeper than what their brain is telling them to do. Again, it could be a trauma response, but like there are some great questions that you can think about. For example, would I be friends with myself? Right? That's a good one. Because that makes you think about some of your flaws, some of your positive traits, and it makes you just journal about that or think about that, right? Another question that you can ask yourself is, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? And that kind of makes you think about what kind of relationships you want to include in your life, what kind of energy you want to attract into your life, And things like that are a great way to start, because you have a actual thing to think about, you know? Because I feel like self-reflection sometimes is kind of very vast and you don't know where to really start.
Yeah.
But having like questions to ruminate on, reflect on That is a good starting point, you know.
Yeah. And I also think it might be a little corny, but like kind of what I used to do that I don't really do as much is just talk to yourself. Honestly,
Conversations with yourself.
I used to be a big self-talker,
What do you
especially
mean? What do you mean
in
by
the
that?
car. In the car.
Like
And I
actual
try-
verbal talking.
Yeah, talk like out loud.
Wow.
It's so different. I mean, it's different. Like thinking to yourself is not talking. Like talk
Right.
to yourself.
Like
Just
what?
talk to yourself. Just be like, yo, Marshall, like, how are you? And like have a conversation with yourself. How are you? I'm alright. What's going on? I don't know. Whatever. Like how wherever it goes, and just like in the first like 10 seconds you're gonna sound stupid, but then you realize like there's nobody there, and like, it doesn't fucking matter. So then like you keep doing it, and like it's kind of crazy like where you can end up.
And that's so nice because I know like you being in your car is such a safe space for you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that boosted that.
Find a quiet spot, a
safe
spot where
spot.
there's like no people for you, for like there to be no like blockages, like, and yeah, man, talk to yourself. Write down some of these questions. Talk to yourself. It sounds dumb, but I mean, like, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I think it helps when it feels like you're talking to someone, but it's really just like yourself.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Another one that's important, that actually helps a lot, is welcoming feedback from your loved ones.
Damn.
Right? Like, you were the one, I remember when we first started talking, and you were kind of like, oh, why do you do the silent treatment when you're mad? And I was like, oh, I do that, and that's not normal. And so getting that feedback from him and also working through it together made me realize that it's actually abnormal to give someone the cold shoulder and like silent treatment when you are mad, and like you could communicate, you know.
But it's like, then like, why do you still do that?
I don't do that. You're such a liar.
It comes out every now and then.
Yeah, sometimes. Maybe like a little second.
Once a week.
But don't lie, because you do this thing where you just leave the room.
Yeah.
What?
That's fun. You gotta disconnect. That was one of my tips. It's like you gotta disconnect to like reconnect. You know, sometimes you just need like a little bit of space.
All right. Anyway, but I'm saying it's nice to get feedback. And also, I remember once, you know, I talk on and on sometimes, and sometimes I like interrupt people because I have things that I want to say before I forget, because I also have short-term memory loss sometimes. And I remember my brother, not just my brother, also you guys were kind of like, oh, you know, you have a habit of like interrupting people. And I was like, but like I was trying to like prove myself, like to defend myself. And then that's when I realized that that's actually a very big thing that I do.
That's good.
It's not something purposeful, you know, but at least I didn't like yell at you guys and be like, no, you're making that up. That's not true.
You do have that response sometimes, though. That like denial.
Yeah, but then I get over it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean,
it's important to get feedback. Like even when you have an interview and you don't get the job, you can ask that recruiter or whoever interviewed you.
So don't bother.
No, sometimes don't bother. You can sometimes ask them like, oh, can I get some feedback on my interview?
Give you none. Yeah, feedback is good, especially from like, you know, people that, you know, just give it to you, and you know, don't hold back. My boy Soham asking for feedback all the time. I'm like, yo, what do you like about me? Like, what don't you like about me? And it's like, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and the real ones will tell you.
Yeah, ask me. Any of y'all can ask me. Yeah, I mean, I like what I just said. Disconnect to reconnect.
Yeah, what's that mean? Break it down.
Sometimes you just need some space away to, you know, fill up the space in between.
I don't know what that means.
Me neither.
Okay.
No, it's like, you know, I don't live in Orlando anymore, but now that I don't live in Orlando anymore, I love Orlando. Yeah. And I never said that growing up. There are so many things that I miss about Orlando that I would not have ever in a million years realized that I actually enjoy about that place.
I've been telling you that. And
that same dynamic can occur with anything. If there is, you know, a parental relationship that maybe is on the edge, get some space. There's a big chance that, you know, that space will do you guys wonders. If it's, you know,
because you have the ability to like self-reflect away from that and like think about everything beyond that.
Yeah. Then you got the time to be like, oh, like, what was I doing wrong in this situation? Yeah. You do not have the space to ask yourself that question when you are in the situation. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? And it's also...
Space, distance makes the heart go fonder.
Good one.
Yeah.
Thought that one you're on.
Yeah.
One that and like something that I've also been liking is now that I've been doing this diet, it's been making me think so much about a lot of the bullshit that I eat. And like a
If
lot.
you guys didn't know, he's on a keto diet.
I'm on a keto diet. I actually did a solo episode on it
Yeah,
recently.
that's good.
Now that I'm on a diet, it makes me appreciate food more. Now, like before, I used to eat if I want fried chicken, I go get fried chicken. But now I know it's gonna mess up with like my ketone levels.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go get fried chicken. I'm gonna go get it like when I feel like I deserve it. You know, it helps rebuild a relationship with food. So that dynamic you can carry on to like whatever you want.
Yeah.
Disconnect, reconnect.
Yeah.
You like that one?
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
You have any more?
Tight shit. I think my last one was just mind, body, soul.
Oh.
It's you gotta take care of all of you. You can't just take care of one side of you, because the true self-reflection comes out when you are happiest with yourself. You are not going to do any self-reflection when you're sad. You might ask yourself those questions, but the answers aren't always going to be the most positive because you're not in a good state of mind. You got to take care of your mind, your body, your soul. You got to do things that make you happy. You got to make sure that you are active and trying your best to exercise. Even if it's not exercising, just go outside, take it in the outdoors, feed yourself mentally. Don't be watching bullshit all day. Don't be scrolling on TikTok. I know some of y'all screen time is 12 hours, 13 hours.
That also
What's y'all screen time? Crazy.
That plays a part with like discipline as well. Like if you say, oh my God, I feel so shitty when I am scrolling 12 hours a day, you can continue doing that and continue feeling shitty, or you can have that discipline and like stop that, right? Yeah. And it's like, we're talking about self-reflection, we're talking about accountability and how you can be a better person and friend or partner, whatever it is, but we're also talking about self-reflection to the point where you're just having a better livelihood, better life, because you think about who you are, what your values are as a person, and then you bring that out into your routines and your day-to-day, right? Like for example, if I know that I'm a morning person but I continuously wake up at like 1 p.m. and not actually putting in the work to wake up earlier and have a better day, then that's gonna kind of mess up like my self-perception of myself, right? So like having self assessments of yourself, it helps a lot with like having just like a more fruitful life. Yeah. You know?
And like vice versa, like taking better care of yourself helps you gain like a broader perspective. Yeah. It's like looking out from the ground versus from the sky. You know, it's like you see so much more when you're like feeling better about yourself, when you're feeling more elevated versus like when you just feel like rooted and like feel like you're kind of like at rock bottom or like you don't have much to offer. It's like you're not going to see much if you're in that state of mind, but it's like the more you take care of yourself, the better you're going to see things, and the more you'll be able to reflect.
And we talked about that in our last episode about confidence and our tips on that, because we talked about mental confidence and how to just feel better as a person. But obviously physical confidence and everything is intertwined with mental confidence as well. And it's the same thing with like self-assessment and self-reflection, where like if you are feeling good within because you did the work to know who you are as a person and you're constantly working towards being a better person, that just makes you more disciplined, makes you more confident, and just like you're having a better life, you know? Yeah. Good one, buddy. All right, so as you guys know, we post on our Instagram story before we record our episodes, so you can give us some insight, some responses that we sometimes feature in our episodes. So make sure to follow us on Difficult Dish. So this time around, we asked you guys, have y'all ever thought that maybe you're the problem in relationships and friendships? And we talked about, what have you learned about yourself through self-reflection? And you guys sent in a bunch of responses, and we're gonna...
And we got some good ones.
We got some good ones.
I'm not gonna lie. There's some good ones. I like this one. Hyper-independence is self-sabotage for relationships. They need vulnerability and nurturing. Hyper-independence.
Guess who was very hyper-independent in the beginning of our relationship?
Who?
Me. Because again, it is like a trauma response, right? Like I grew up as the oldest daughter. I grew up as the one that was not providing for the family, but like helping with a lot of the things you guys know, the eldest daughters know. And so you kind of go into friendships and relationships like that as well, and you're kind of on like a survival mindset where you feel like you have to do everything yourself and deal with your emotions yourself. But usually in a relationship, the partner is supposed to help you with that burden, right? So it's definitely very hard to like unlearn that hyper independence mindset. But also at the end of the day, you deserve to relax, you deserve to rest, you deserve to have a fruitful, healthy, loving relationship you can kind of be hands off. And again, it's hard to unlearn it, but you deserve it, you know? Yeah. Someone said, I can be very insecure and overly anxious due to past bad relationships. Yeah. I get that. You get trust issues sometimes, right?
That's what it does to you.
Yeah.
You know, you allow someone in close and they rock your world.
Rock your world could be a good thing.
Not in a good way. You know, it can leave some everlasting scars. Feel me?
Bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
like
important for you to not go from relationship to relationship if you are that type of person, and maybe have some like alone time.
Maybe
to see if you can build that trust up with yourself first, and like see who you want in a person or a friendship.
Hopefully.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
There's one that I liked.
Yeah.
I thought I was good at communicating, but actually I just let everything out all at once.
Ooh, why do you like that one?
That's kind of good.
Why do you like that one?
Nah, because it's true. It's like, I kind of had to think about that. It's like, it's not, like, communicating isn't just, like
word dumping.
Word vomiting. It's like, you know, having correct choice of words and having correct articulation and processing your thoughts in
the art
a
of
beneficial
articulation.
way. Yeah, like thinking, like processing your thoughts in a beneficial way.
Yeah.
Like for the benefit of like a relationship with yourself or like with someone else. So, like, it's not just like letting out everything that's on your head.
Yeah.
It's like how do I, like, the words that I say, how can I use them to better whatever is happening instead of just doing whatever.
If you say everything at once, it might overwhelm or scare the other person because they might feel like targeted or, you know.
That's a good one.
Scared.
Because like a lot of people will like, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
New poem?
That's a good new poem. Just everything I said. That's a good one.
Someone said that it's okay for not everyone to like you, and likewise that you don't have to like everyone. People pleasing. Yep. If you grew up with people pleasing tendencies, you might feel like you have to make yourself likable for everyone, even if you don't like yourself at all. You know? But it's impossible to please everyone. I can. No, you can't. I can. Actually.
Nah, it's honestly,
if you have no haters, then I'm dead.
If you don't like me, there's something wrong with you. Like, I know we just talked about like
right
for an hour, but it's like, it doesn't really, like, it's not about me, it's about y'all. You got any more?
I'll do one more.
Okay.
Someone said, me not communicating, I was bothered, and that people don't magically figure that out. Yeah, so someone could be an over communicator, but someone can also be an under communicator, right?
And like expecting other people to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, you know, you do a lot of that. You hold things in, and then you expect me to just like, no. Yeah, you, Mr. Virgo man. Also, our birthday months are coming up. So
yeah, August, celebratory month.
Yeah.
We got
a Leo and a Virgo in the house.
Yeah, that's true. Can't expect people to know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
They not no mind readers.
Yeah.
Except you.
All right. So, if you guys listen this far, what's the emoji of the week?
The thought bubble.
The thought bubble? That's a good one. You thought of that pretty quick.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Self-reflection. It was a good one.
Time second English.
You got?
Go ahead. Wash your hat. Maybe it's been
No. We're not saying that, okay? I don't know why you thought you could get away with that one.
Maybe you haven't watched like a short film in a while.
Yeah.
Watch it instead of like an episode of a TV show. Watch like a little short film.
Especially if it's cultural.
Short films are nice.
Yeah.
Watch a little short film, 20-30 minutes. That's all.
Yeah. If you're going to an event, maybe consider taking your mom instead of just going with a friend.
You wish you buried your mom?
No, I'm talking about the next event that we're going to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, true. Okay, that's all we got. I'm hungry. That was like 10 minutes. We cut it out. You
All
didn't
right.
even know. All right, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Please write the review and
Yeah.
we love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Bye. Allah Hafiz.